Hello Music After School students, my name is Ryan and I will be your online Music After School instructor. Today we will be talking about the simple basics of piano playing. In order to learn the basic skills of playing piano, we can start with something called proper posture. In order to practice this, we can sit nice in our seats with a straight back, halfway in our seats so that we have leverage over the piano, and we can be super relaxed when we do this. Now, in addition to this, we also need to know our finger numbers. Go ahead and hold up both hands nice and high so that you can see all 10 fingers. Once you have done this, go ahead and wiggle your thumbs. We call these finger number 1. Now go ahead and wiggle your pointer fingers. We call those finger number 2. Now go ahead and wiggle your middle fingers. We call those finger number 3. Now go ahead and wiggle your ring fingers. We call those finger number 4. Now last, your baby fingers or your pinky fingers. We call those finger number 5. Now it is very important that you know these finger numbers, because when you look in your Music After School music, you will see numbers throughout the pages. What those numbers tell you is what finger to use. For example, if you see the number 1, you will know to use your thumbs. If you see the number 2, you will know to use your pointer finger. If you see the number 3, you will know to use your middle finger. If you see the number 4, you will know to use your ring finger. And if you see the number 5, you will know to use your baby finger. Now let's go ahead and take a look at our keyboard. As we look at the keyboard, we can see that there are 2 types of keys on the piano. We have white keys and we have black keys. We can also see that there are 2 different groups of black keys. We have groups of 2 black keys and groups of 3 black keys. We call the groups of 2 black keys twins and the groups of 3 black keys triplets. In order to find what we call C position in piano, we must find our second finger and place it between the 2 black keys or twins in the middle of the piano. Your other fingers that are adjacent to that finger should be all on white keys. And if you do this like so, it should sound like this. And those notes are C, D, E, F, and G. Now in order to place your left hand in C position, we must take finger number 4, the ring finger, and place it between the 2 black keys to the left of your right hand, with the triplets in between your 2 hands. If you do this, your adjacent fingers should be placed on all white keys just like your right hand, and now you'll be playing also C, D, E, F, and G. Notice that both hands are placed on the same exact letters: C's, D's, E's, F's, and G's. The only difference is that one is more higher pitched, the right hand, and one is more lower pitched, the left hand. If you have followed these instructions accordingly, you will be in now what we call C position. Now that we are done talking about C position, we can begin talking about the fundamentals of music note reading. What you see in front of you is page 3 of the Music After School book, and on it we have a couple of staffs. What a staff is in music is a series of lines and spaces, 5 lines and 4 spaces, which are marked with a specific type of clef to indicate what the letters of those lines and spaces are. For example, this symbol that you see right here is called a treble clef. That treble clef tells you that the 5 lines of the staff that it is on are E, G, B, D, and F.
We can remember these 5 lines by saying, every good boy does fine. In addition to this, there are 4 spaces. When you have a treble clef on a staff, the 4 spaces get the letters F, A, C, and E. We can remember the word face to remember the 4 letters of these spaces. Now, it is also important to know that when you see a treble clef in the Music After School book, you will be using your right hand to play. In addition to this, we have a bass clef. The bass clef will indicate that you will be using your left hand in the Music After School book. When you place this on a staff, your 5 lines become G, B, D, F, and A. We can remember these 5 lines by saying, gummy bears don't feel anything. In addition to those 5 lines, we have 4 spaces, just like the treble clef, which are A, C, E, and G. We can remember these 4 spaces of the bass clef by saying, all cows eat grass. Let's take a look at page 11 of the Music After School book, where we will see the song Mary Had a Little Lamb, a song that we will learn in another video. The reason why we need to look at this song now is because we can see the treble clef staff and the bass clef staff combined in one unit. We call this the grand staff. Notice how the treble clef staff indicates a right hand line because we see notes. Notice how the left hand staff does not have a line because we see rests. Therefore, Mary Had a Little Lamb on page 11 will only be played with the right hand. There are only 2 notes in Mary Had a Little Lamb which we cannot determine by looking at page 3 in your Music After School book. Those 2 notes are circled at the beginning and 1 at the end. One is D, which is directly below the treble clef staff but still touching the bottom line, and C, which gets its own line passing through it. Now that we know what notes to play by looking at the lines and spaces, we must know how long to play those notes for. That's why we need to talk about rhythm. When you have a symbol that looks like this, a black dot or a note head with a stem, that's called a quarter note, and it gets 1 beat. When that note head is hollow, or just an open circle with a stem, that gets 2 beats, and it is called a half note. When you have just an open circle, like this one that we find at the end of Mary Had a Little Lamb, that's called a whole note, and it gets 4 beats. In order to understand what this means, we can find an object like a pencil and tap gently on a hard surface like a desk or a piece of wood. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We can say that each of those taps got 1 beat, so they represent quarter notes. Now let's go ahead and hear what half notes would sound like. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Whole notes are nice and easy because we hold them down for a long time, a whole measure which represents 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go ahead and do a quick review. Quarter notes, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Half notes, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And last but certainly not least, whole notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Very good. Now I believe that with our rhythm practice and our note practice, we can be ready to start learning new songs. See you on the Mary Had a Little Lamb video. Hello again, Ryan here. Just a reminder, if anything in the previous sections of this video confused you, please feel free to rewind and watch again. If you find that it is still confusing, please review the first video where we go over the basic skills of learning to play piano. Now, as usual, practice makes perfect, so go ahead and keep practicing, never get discouraged, and I hope to see you in class soon. Goodbye.